Hello, 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 hello. You are on Book Nation. Thank you for tuning in with me. I am so glad to have you here on Empower Sundays and on the Vent Radio Network. This, once again, is Book Nation, and I am your host, Sonya the Purdy. And so, going forward, we're going to get right into these topics. A few things. There's some amazing books out, and so we're going to go over, kind of shoot through two of them today. Let's see. One of the things that this first book that I'm going to talk about actually has some layers that I want to talk about because there are some things, some interesting facts, so much that I learned from this book. One of the things that I want to talk about is going to be the book written by Richard Williams. Do you know who Richard Williams is?
The name sounds familiar.
Take a guess. What do you think?
Oh, that's
Richard Williams
Serena
is.
and Venus' father.
Absolutely. And Richard Williams has a book, and the title of the book is King Richard. No, that's the movie. It's titled Richard Williams, Black and White, The Way I See It.
Black and White, The Way I See It.
The way I see it. So the way he sees it. And so this book got me thinking about something I had totally forgot about. Many years ago, I don't know if the store was just here in Michigan, but there was a store where Venus had a clothing line called 11.
Okay.
Did you know she had a clothing line?
Venus or Serena?
Venus.
I didn't know Venus. I knew Serena had a clothing line, but I didn't know Venus did.
So Venus had a clothing line called 11. And so she came here to Detroit to promote her clothing line. Okay. I was in the store because this store you can get sporting attire for like $7. And so I was in there just cash my check. I'm like, okay, $7. I'm about to get some things. And so the guy said, you need to hurry up because Venus is leaving soon. So I was like, oh, okay. Where's she leaving from? Like, what is, huh? So he was like, you need to hurry up because Venus is leaving soon. So I was like, okay, I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Please explain. And he said, well, did you know Venus Williams is here in the store? And so if you want to get her autograph, you need to hurry up because she's about to leave. And so I was like, oh, yeah, show me the way. Yes, sir. So I get over there and she pointed and was like, okay, that's the last person, pointing to me saying that's the last person that I'm going to see today. So I'm like, oh, okay, thank you, sir. So the other people went and they stopped me. So I'm like, oh, okay, what's going on? So they stopped me and Venus was like, no, you gonna just chill out with us because we're gonna wrap it up or whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I got her autograph and then, darn, her sister's name keep escaping me. But her older sister went to talking about relationships. And her and another lady, they was talking about relationships. So I'm just kind of like in awe, just standing there like, okay, they said don't move. I'm just staying here. I already got my autograph. All right. So they started engaging me in the conversation about toxic relationships and different things like that. And at the time, I really was debating whether or not to stay in or get out of this relationship. So I was like, oh, this must be God ordained because, like, they don't know me. And why are we talking about this? And so the sister went to telling me, don't stay in a toxic situation, da-da-da-da-da. You need to get out, da-da-da-da. So I'm like, oh, wow, this is real prophetic. I noticed that Venus was just watching me. And so I was like, you okay, girl? Like, everything all right? I was a little worried. Like, I didn't feel like she was okay. And she was like, you look so familiar. Like, I know you from somewhere. And I was like.
Was that your Tunde?
Yes.
Because your Tunde passed. She was murdered.
I didn't need you to get into that.
I was just trying to.
So anyway.
To get her name.
Thank you for the name. So we was talking about toxic relationships, she and I, and then so Venus was looking at me. She said she was looking at me because she was trying to figure out where she knew me from. And I was like, oh, well, y'all, I don't know, but you can sure enough give me your number if you want to. We could be cool. And she was like, no, I just know you from somewhere. And her sister, Yatunde, said the same thing. I know you from somewhere. I'm like, I'm trying to think, like, can I make it up that they my cousin? Or can I make up something real quick? Like, so anyway. So that was my Venus experience, her and her sister, Yatunde. And then in walks her mom. Okay. So her mom comes in with all these bags, like she had a bunch of bags, and Venus was just shaking her head like, oh my God, here she go. She was like, excuse me, young lady, what's your name? I said, Sonya. She was like, did you know it's a store called Dollar Tree? And I was like, yeah. She was like, you can get everything in there for $1. And Yatunde was like, Mama, what did you do? She was like, I spent $1,000 at the Dollar Tree.
Oh my.
So Venus was like, why? Why would you do that? So I'm just standing there just cracking up because they were so real and down to earth. Like the fact that they was just shaking their head at their mama like, here she go. $1,000 at the Dollar Tree. Why would you do that? And we still got to go back home. And they was just like, okay, excuse our mother. Sorry. And she was like, I couldn't get all the stuff. I couldn't get much more stuff in the car. So I stopped at 1,000, but I'm going back before we leave.
What?
So we all was just cracking up at how excited she was. She was like, did you know they got towels, tablecloth? They got, oh my God, girl. It was this one thing I saw. I got to go back and get it. The fact that these millionaires is sitting here in awe over a dollar store.
Wow.
Had me just like, okay, these people are just so down to earth on a level that I was not expecting. And it made me appreciate Venus and Serena so much more because you see them on their work ethic and, the successful side. But rarely do you get to tap into that personal side. And to have experienced that, I was just like, oh, God, these I love them. They're awesome.
That's awesome. So
in reading and going through all of this, it made me think about my Venus experience and to see if my autograph might be worth some money. I'm about to check into that. So I ran across a story by that was in a news publication about Sabrina Williams, who's a name. So getting back to Tunde, the sister who was in a toxic relationship and she ended up being killed. So the fact that she was talking to me about toxic relationships, how you got to get out, whatever. When she was trying to get out, he ended up killing her.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that hit me hard. Like here she was just talking, because that happened not too long after Venus did her tour with her clothing line. And so when that happened, I was just like, she was just talking about, get out. You don't need to be in no situation. And when she tried to get out, this whole tragedy happens. That just had me like, what in the world? But I ended up getting out of mine.
Which is awesome.
God bless that I didn't, end up in a tragic situation. But it just hit me hard when I heard that, because I was like, she was just talking about this.
Wow.
And why was she sharing this with me? Was just like, whoa. So getting back to Sabrina Williams, Sabrina decided, I think she's early 50s. She has decided now that she wants to tell her story. Sabrina Williams is the actual first daughter that she knows of Richard Williams. So although you just read Natunde was his oldest daughter, Sabrina is actually his oldest daughter with another lady.
Papa was a
she comes before Serena and all of them. And Natunde and her and two other siblings was Gracene's children before she married Richard. So biologically, they're actually not his children, but they're his children. Okay, so Sabrina biologically is his first daughter. So she, as far as she knows. So her first 8 years of her life, her mom and Richard were together. It was a tumultuous relationship, but they were together. And she said that was the best time ever of her life because he knew how to provide for them, take care of them. He took them on trips. He would show them amazing things, and he was just such an amazing father. But at some point, her mother and him could no longer get along, and he told her that he was going to the store and buy her a bike, and he never came back. So she says she sat and waited. I don't even want the bike no more. I just want daddy to come home. But he never came back. Didn't call. At that point, she said her family, from that point on, she said that her family just struggled They struggled to the point where home was so horrible, she left home to go sleep in a car. She said her mother became so angry, bitter, and abusive to them that she didn't care what she beat them with. Whatever she could touch, that was what you got hit with, for whatever reason in her head was valid enough to beat you with. And that's when she said she went to stay in her car. So eventually she struggled through and she was able to go to college. She said she reached out to him to ask him, or her aunt reached out to ask him, could he help her with $1,000? He said, I'll loan it to you. Allegedly, he said that he would loan it to her, but he wouldn't just outright give her some money to help her out. And she said that hurt her so bad that here, at this point in time, he had Venus and Serena, and it was all this, hoopla about how great of a father he is to them. But yet you're telling me, your eldest child, I need to borrow money from you. And she said when she told him that she had a child, he said that that didn't have nothing to do with him.
So back it up, because sometimes I can be on the slow bus.
Mm-hmm.
So Sabrina is his true
eldest daughter.
Not a daughter that claimed as his own, but really
no, but his true but I say she believes, because the other point is she was made aware that he may have a total of anywhere from 15 to 19 kids. So as far as she knows, she's the first kid. She's the first kid that she knew of. But she's never met her other siblings other than Serena and Venus and his son Richard. So she don't even know if before her, if there existed kids. All she know is with her mother, he had 6 kids, and she's the eldest of that 6. And they came before Venus and Serena. And
so now her son, she needs money for her son, which is
she was just telling him that when she had her son, she was in need of money, and she was telling Richard that, hey, I have a son, and he was just like, oh, okay, I'll loan you the $1,000, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. The son thing ain't got nothing to do with me. So, this is all what she alleges. This is her story. And she says she's finally free as she's going through some hardships in her life health-wise, that she finally feels the freedom to go ahead and really tell her story. And she said that she doesn't want this to have any backlash, but if it does, she's ready for it. She just wants to somehow be able to have a relationship either with her father and her siblings, or just her siblings. She says she wants it to be a private coming together. It doesn't have to be anything public or nothing like that, but she wants to at least be able to connect at this point in her life. And she said that her son, when he went to college, he wanted to play tennis, but because of people knowing that he was Richard Williams' grandson, that he got a lot of backlash saying, well, are you trying to be Venus and Serena, so he quit tennis, allegedly, because of the pressure of trying to measure up to them.
But you have a lot of people who have a famous name,
mm-hmm.
but don't go to school with that famous name.
Right.
You know what I mean? For that simple reason. You have a lot of, that's why you have these fake baby names where they'll name them Geronimo and their real name is not Geronimo.
Mm-hmm.
So in the public, they're known as Geronimo, but they're really Greg. So when they go to college, no one can associate Geronimo with Greg. You see what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, I believe at some point, a conversation or something had to come up about it in order for them to know. But once it was known, he said he felt the pressure of trying to measure up. So he ended up leaving. So I think in those situations, especially when you're estranged, you might not want to let it be known. So listen. There was a point in time her mother was very ill, but because they didn't have any money for medication, she was not able to manage her illness and ended up passing away.
Wow.
And she said that it just hurt her so bad that, to know she has this famous father that she could not reach out to say, if not for me, can you at least help my mom?
Especially the woman that you had. How many kids?
6 kids.
Sad.
Yes. And so, she's feeling the freedom to tell her story. She said at the point when she told it, she had not had any contact with Richard. And it's probably because at that point he had already had his 3 strokes, which he's still recovering from now.
Yeah, because I read that he is staying with
one of the daughters. Son. Oh, I thought it was the daughter because she has guardianship. But go ahead.
The article stated that he's staying with one of the sons, and that he is being cared for by one of the sons. And evidently there is a controversy because one of the other children, this was on TMZ last week, one of the children, I guess, wanted to see him and wanted to spend time with him. One of the children that is not Venus and Serena's
Gracene's children.
Right. And that TMZ was publicizing it because evidently this person was saying that they have a right to spend time with their dad also, but evidently where he's staying with the son, they won't allow him to have visitors unless it's approved by, I guess, that part of the family, not the first wife's family. So evidently it's like a separation where the first wife's second wife, her family is taking control over his affairs and is not letting first family be involved.
Well, I believe Gracene, is the second wife, and Keisha, I believe her name is the third wife, who he's currently going through a divorce with. So it's a lot to his whole situation.
But evidently the first family, that's funny. They wanted to, I guess, see and spend time with him.
Well, yeah, I think that would be Sabrina's 6.
Right.
But see, he never really spoke. Well, Venus and them mentioned that they thought they met. They thought they remembered meeting Sabrina, but they hadn't met the rest of the kids and really didn't connect to the Williams family, that part of the side of their family. So, but then they were having a conversation saying that there are some siblings that they have connected to, and they're not really trying to reach out any further. So I think there's a lot of just information that the kids don't have that they can only get from him with regard to who's who and who does he actually claim or has approved of or just what. So at this point, they can't know that just because JJ came along and said he's a son, we've never met you. We don't. And then right now, Dad is not approving or disapproving you. He's not even in a condition for us to know. So it's like, it's crazy. And then he's going through this health issue, but he's also going through a divorce.
Wow.
So, and then Venus and them is not too cool with the one he's going with a divorce with, but it's a lot. So
I'm blinking and looking straight ahead.
Yeah, it's a lot. So listen, so now they have the movie King Richard, which stars Will Smith. Will Smith he's had a whole nother mindset over Richard Williams in just knowing the story now. And I gotta see this movie. Venus and Serena didn't come on as executive producers until they saw the final production of it, because they wanted to make sure this was something that they could put their name on, and they finally did once they saw the final cut. So the movie pulls a lot out of his book, which is called Richard Williams, Black and White, The Way I See It. The book, I haven't seen the movie yet, but the book totally gave me a whole new outlook on who he is as a person, as a father.
So I haven't seen the book. You're making me want to go see the book.
You gotta get this book. You gotta get this book.
I feel sometimes the book does more justice than
the movie, because they had to take a lot of things. Yeah.
Right. Like Waiting to Exhale is a wonderful movie, but the book is even better.
Well, the book is raw in him telling his story in the raw. The movie is the poetic version of it.
Fluff and nice and kind and
It's his story, but it's the poetic version of it. So yeah, but the book for sure you have to get. Now the movie was criticized by some people because they felt like it should not have been about him. It should have been about Venus and Serena since they're the stars.
Well, somebody said when I was the actress that played their mother.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked her, I think it was on one of those morning shows, that since she played such an intricate role in their lives, because a lot of people didn't know that she was just as much as a coach to them.
Well, she is a tennis coach, yes.
As they are. How is it that she didn't get the limelight as Richard? You know, Richard was known as like the coach, the one who, I guess, put the tennis racket in their hand and stuff, and gave them encouragement to move forward.
Let me get into the book, and I'm going to tell you why that is. Well, why I believe it is. Okay, so yes, Richard Williams and Gracine both were already tennis coaches before Venus and Serena were even born. Richard had a foundation, a tennis coaching foundation that he had created years before they were even born. He had amassed a savings of $810,000 to put in the bank to prepare for what he had envisioned to do for Venus and Serena once they got into tennis.
So let's back it up, because I'm on the slow bus. So
we got to back it up and speed it up because our time.
Before he even married their mother, he had $800,000.
No. When he and Gracine were married already.
Okay.
So let me get into the book because I'm going to answer that. Your answer is going to come later as I talk about the book. Richard and Gracine were already they had already become tennis coaches before Venus and Serena were even born. Okay. However, before that, let's back up Richard's story. Richard, who's from Shreveport, yes, had a very rough relationship with his parents, who were very poor. His mother was very verbally abusive to him, and his father just picked up and just left.
Like he did. Generational curse.
Yes. So his father just picked up and left. His mother, of course, just like Sabrina says her mama became, bitter, angry, abusive. So he had a tough time because of the abuse and the poverty he experienced. When he went to school, he was also bullied. So he had a tough time with relationships early on in his life. When he was 6, he met a boy at school that decided to become friends. They were going to become friends and just help each other out. And when he became friends with this little boy, the other kids kind of left him alone because he was just all about his new homie, his new little brother. And so this kid, I believe he was stealing something from, this was back in the 40s. So this little kid was stealing from a white lady. You know, back in that time, black kids, that's a no-no.
That's a big no-no.
And so he ended up, not that friend. The first friend, they were going somewhere, him and the friend, and to surmise the story, the friend ended up getting hit by a vehicle and died right there in front of Richard. He was killed right in front of Richard, which really tore him up. Not only did I just witness somebody get killed, it was my one and only friend.
Yeah.
So he never got, of course, no counseling or nothing. But after that, he's still going back home to an abusive situation. Then he went back to school and started getting bullied, and he said the kids were teasing him, ha ha ha, you watched your friend die, and look at how he splattered. And so it was just really tumultuous for him. And he said back in that time, they was dealing with racial issues and stuff like that. So he met another friend a few years later. This friend, however, was a thief and was stealing from the white man, from a Ku Klux Klan member. Yes. So while with Richard, the friend gets caught by the Klan. They take his friend, hang him up on a tree. They cut off his hands and they let him hang. Richard witnessed the whole thing. He's about, I think, 8 or so now. He's still an impressionable little kid. He leaves that, goes back to his abuse. He decided, you know what? I am not going to let none of this kill my spirit. Whatever I want in this life, I'm going to get it by any means necessary. And there is nobody that will ever stop me. So that hardness that people have disliked and have talked about in the media, we never took the time to figure out where did it come from and what was the embodiment of all of that. So he was in the midst of his life, he was beat by some sharecroppers. He was, all the mental abuse, seeing his only 2 friends. Now, these 2 friends being killed made him decide, I don't even want no kind of relationship. My daddy done left me, just all this stuff. I'm just going to count on me. So he gets to a place where he just got tired of getting beat down. He just got tired of getting robbed, get beat down, just being disappointed. So he decides to chase a police officer. What? And basically try to get the police officer to just beat him down. He's beating on the police officer, and the police officer turns to him and said, I'm not going to kill you. Oh, my. You can't make me kill you. And he said at that moment, he was just at his wit's end, like, no, I know if I hit this white man, he going to kill me. And the white man, the police officer said, I'm not going to touch you. I'm not going to hit you. I'm not going to kill you. I'm not even going to arrest you. Just back up and leave me alone. And this is the police officer.
So the police officer probably could
sense something. So he said he says that police officer saved his life, because that was his way of saying, take me out of here. I'm tired of this. Take me out of here. But he didn't. And he said he knew at that moment it was on him to get out of life what he wanted and to do what he needed to do by any means necessary to get it done. So later in the story, when he and Gracine gets together, they're married. They end up having some rough times as well. And I did not know this, but Gracine moved back to Michigan. They were in Chicago. She ended up moving to Michigan. And Serena was actually born in Saginaw, Michigan. I did not know that. So Gracine and Richard had some issues, whatever, but they get back together. They decide to move to California. While in California, they're watching TV. They're watching a tennis match. And they see that this girl that won, she got paid $40,000, $10,000 per day for the games that she played. She played 4 days, so she got a total of $40,000. And he said $40,000 for just playing tennis, for winning at tennis. And she's a woman, as you say, woman. And he said a woman, because at that point, no women was winning like that. One woman did win in Wimbledon. Black woman did win in Wimbledon. But he said,
and Billie Jean King.
And he said that so if a woman can get paid $40,000, one woman can get paid $40,000 to win at Wimbledon. If I get 2 daughters, I get $80,000. So he said at that point, he was on a mission. He was going to have 2 daughters that was going to play tennis, and they was going to win no matter what. And they was going to get that money. So he told Gracine, you going to have me 2 daughters.
Wow.
Venus and Serena wasn't born yet.
Wow.
He started preparing for their careers 20 years before they was born. So that's when him and Gracine got into this tennis thing. He learned how to play basketball, to learn positioning. Mm-hmm. He went to school for dance, to learn how to move on the court. He went to school for so many things so that he could prepare for when Gracine had these 2 girls, that he gonna teach them all this stuff so they can become tennis professionals and win. 20 years before they even come. So in that time, he saved that $810,000 so that he could pay for the things that he thought that he was going to need for when these 2 daughters come. So,
but his other kids were starving.
Exactly.
and was being beaten.
Exactly. But he wasn't aware of that. Venus
Oh,
was
okay.
born in 80 and Serena 81, I believe. It was like, aha,
Like,
it's time.
cha-ching.
So he made sure from
He heard
day
the Cash
one,
App- he heard the Cash App buzzer before.
he
Cash
made
App was
sure
even
from day one that them rackets was in their hands. That was it. He had a vision and it was going to come to pass no matter what. So he decided that where they was living was too soft for what he felt Venus and Serena would experience in just the professional community, in sports and all of that. So he moved the family to Compton. They were not born and raised in Compton as so many of us was told, but he had the vision, if I bring these two girls to Compton, bring them here and start their careers from here, it will be an inspirational story for other black kids. He was thinking way beyond where they was at. So he takes them, moves the family into Compton. The court that they played on was riddled with gangs. He told the gangs, look, I need this court for my daughters. The gangs, of course, told him, get the heck out of here. Mm-hmm. So on multiple occasions, when he would go and try to talk to them, they beat him senseless in front of his girls. They beat him till they knocked his teeth out. They beat him till he had broken ribs, jawbone, all of that. All this because he wanted that particular court for his girls. They beat him multiple times, gangs of them, in front of Venus and Serena and Gracine. And so eventually he got tired of that, and he was saying that, he decided he was going to go back after the guys that was beating on him so bad. But before he could reach the person he was chasing, the person had already been shot dead in the street. And when he got there, he was witnessing the family grieving over, they're looking at their family member laid out in the street. So he said after that, he decided what he was going to do was hire the gang members to speak negativity to Venus and Serena while they played. Because he said that is the same thing that's going to happen when they get out in the actual competition. So he hired these people and eventually other people, as the gangs backed away from him, to just call them niggas and tell them they were stupid and they would never make it. Like, he had them he paid them to verbally abuse them while they practiced, so that when they got on the major courts and people were calling them names or criticizing them, they knew how to handle it. I mean, this man was, when I say,
he was before his time.
When I say, let me see, what else do he got? Richard, let's see. He believed in, at one point in time, he had many jobs. He worked as a security guard. He worked car wash. He didn't care. He said the job wasn't the thing. It was his goal that was important. So whatever I got to do to meet my goal, I'm going to do that. And he stayed to that, like you see, with the fact that he was preparing for Venus and Serena before they even got here. What else was it? I make sure I get everything that I wanted to talk about with him and his book. And that's pretty much. So you got to get the book. It's on Amazon. He goes into a whole lot more. That is only like the first 11 chapters. It's a whole nother half of the book. So when I tell you, it gave me a whole
different
perspective on this guy. The other thing was he finds it hard, difficult to maintain relationships.
I understand why.
Right. And so his tough demeanor and stuff. I mean, look at what this man has seen, and you've seen your friend hung and his hands cut off as a kid. So when he went hard, like, no, you're not going to talk to my daughters like that, and da-da-da-da on different interviews, it was because he said he refused to let them be minimized by their color or their gender. You was not going to minimize them and tell them that this is all they can be. Anything they set their minds to, they could have it, they could be it, whatever it was. He started them bank accounts at 6 years of age, so that at any point in time, when they needed or wanted, they never had to ask anybody for anything. They knew exactly what they had, and they could do whatever they wanted to. So this idea of them being impoverished and poor kids that just had a dream, he set it up so that never had to really be their story.
But the rest of them.
But at the same time, you got the Sabrina who is saying she slept in her car. So
she suffered her mother's abuse.
So it's the story, the family as a whole, the whole story.
That's like Rachel and Leah.
Well, yeah.
That's in a sense like Rachel and Leah. Jacob was willing to put Leah and her kids on the front line of a war. He didn't care.
You're right.
But he kept Rachel covered, along with Rachel's kids covered.
Right.
He didn't care about whether or not Leah and her children survived. That's sad.
It is. It is.
But that was his culture.
Absolutely. And so like what Glenn was saying yesterday on Asnita's show that comes on Saturdays, just as a person, and especially as a father, you're not the same at 20 as you are at 40 and then at 50 and whatever. Your understanding about things, your level of wisdom on things. With Richard Williams having 15 kids, however many different women, it was no way he was going to be great in every single area. And there may have been a lot of things that Sabrina and them suffered that he wasn't aware of because he wasn't even there. He wasn't even involved. And I get that he knew he had 6 kids with this lady. So at some point you should have looked back and said something.
Or even now knowing that you have grandkids now,
right?
Could benefit from, what you have built.
And so, what his story made me wonder is how much are we affected in our latter years by the relationship we have with our parents? Because him and his tumultuous relationship with his mother and all the verbal abuse and all of that has caused him to where he, has so many issues when it comes to being that person for a woman, being that loving, empathetic, what have you, softer side of his masculinity for a woman that he's in a relationship. So all of his relationships, the women complained, it was so just a bunch of arguments. It was just problems.
He wanted his way. He was, in a sense, he had built up like a selfishness because it was all what I want. I'm gonna make sure, based on what I have seen, I'm gonna make sure that everything that I want, I get, regardless of what kind of effect it has on anybody else.
So, man,
but that's true with even women because, like, I remember. My mother was never abusive and my dad was never abusive, but my mother was a teenage mom. And so at first, although I loved my baby sister, I felt kind of slighted because my mother was doing stuff for her that she had never did for me. My grandmother was there. My grandmother did those things, for me. Like when I was real little, I never sat on my mother's bed. My sister would just lay across my mama's bed and just talk and stuff. But when I was little, she was working. She was grinding because, my grandmother was like, oh, no, you're not going to have a baby and sit on your behind. You're going to work. And so I remember having that type of, in a sense, animosity, and then I built up a wall. So I remember when my grandmother passed, which I said was a great thing, I remember saying to myself, I really have no deep relationship with my mom as I do with my grandmother. And so I said to myself, what am I going to do? Not realizing that God had already planned it, that my grandmother was going to transition on to glory. So me and my mother could have that relationship because I love my mother. I do. I truly do. But my grandmother was my air. She was my earth. She was my world. Wherein that I remember feeling that void of I'm by myself. You know, the one person that I laid across their bed is gone.
Right.
So I do believe even women that when they're mothers at first, you know, they're not that same mother 10 years from now or whatever.
Right. Absolutely. So parenting, period. So you got to get that book. It's called Richard Williams, Black and White, The Way I See It. You can get it on Amazon, and you can get it on so you can get it on Kindle as well.
Book. I'm gonna have to get that.
Oh my God. You got this.
You only on chapter 11 and you exposed all of that
to all of that. It's like, okay, I need a glass of wine and just some silence, everyone, so that I can read this book.
Really, Will Smith could have made this into a series, almost a mini series.
They really could have.
That's what you're saying.
Still can because is the thing.
I watched Colin Kaepernick's mini series, which was oh my god, and I understand why it had to be a mini series. But now listening to you, King Richard should really be a mini series.
Yeah,
because there's no way that Will Smith could have captured all of these many facets.
In the
he
one
probably
movie.
Didn't even go back. Did Will Smith show a movie go back to when?
Yeah,
King
they go
Richard
back. None. I don't think they go back to when Richard was a kid, but I know it goes through the girls being little. But I don't think it goes back to him. Yeah,
Richard being
it's his story,
child,
right?
You know, because he just seen his friend get killed in the car, and then he just seen the Ku Klux Klan kill his other friend.
Right.
That brings about a total different layer, and then to see the abuse in school and all of that. That's significant. Yeah,
they definitely could do more with his story because he has an amazing story. And so we got to get out of here real soon. So I also want to talk about the book that's coming out by Vanessa Lynn. It's called I Need a Man, Escape Miss Independent Island and Connect with Your King. She will be releasing that book on December 12, 2021. You can go to DetroitShowTickets.com to get your tickets to the event. That's DetroitShowTickets.com. And the book is called I Need a Man, Escape Miss Independent Island and Connect with Your King. So listen, she says, are you only dating, hoping for the end goal to be marriage? Would you, at this point in your life, are you dating with the end goal being marriage, or is just an experience?
Both.
Okay. And do you want a high value man?
What do you mean by high value?
High value meaning kind of the alpha type male, successful in his own right, maybe making 6 or higher figure salary, that type of man.
Oh, it would be nice, but I'm just seeking the man that will love me unconditionally, that has a goal and has a plan and love God.
Do you know your sexual market value? Sexual market value is meeting value, and it's the sum of your looks, status, social status, dating skills, and personal qualities.
Yes.
So there's a guy, a YouTuber named Kevin Samuels. He is I was going to say wardrobeist, but he's an image consultant. Okay. And so Kevin, through most of his conversation, talks about how women in their 40 and older with kids, heavy set, if you're not at least 120 pounds, size 5 or whatever, you're not your appropriate size for your height. You don't have a high sexual market value, and basically you just need to give up.
I don't believe that.
Okay. Are you so independent that you cannot be a helpmeet?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Do you have realistic expectations of what you want from a man?
Yes.
Do you really want an honest man?
Oh, yes.
So if a man tells you, I'm probably not going to love you in this whole fantasy romantic way you want. I will pay the bills. I will make sure you have no type of needs as far as finance or whatever. But I may cheat on you every once in a while.
I'm good. I'm not.
Would you be okay with him telling you that, though?
No, I wouldn't.
Why? You just said you want an honest man. So would you rather
he would be a friend?
You would rather have a
He'd
man
be a friend.
that? Would you rather have a man that cheated on you then?
No, but he would be a friend. He would be like, okay, we can be friends. We can be the best of friends.
Do you think you're cooperative?
Yes.
Do you have a healthy balance of your feminine traits, or are you too masculine?
No, I have a healthy balance.
Are you combative?
No, I'm not. I'll shut down. That's my flaw.
What do you want in a man?
Unconditional love.
What can you provide to a man?
Unconditional love.
And that's all that it takes for a healthy relationship.
It takes more than that, because unconditional love consists of a lot of things. Unconditional love is him accepting even my flaws. And I will have to accept his flaws too. So when we talk
what if one of his flaws is that he likes to be with more than one woman?
Then that's not the man for me.
Okay, so you definitely want to get Vanessa Lynn's. I'm not saying that those questions are in her book, not at all. I Need a Man, Escape from Independent Island, Connect with Your King. I believe that the book is really going to be helpful with helping women understand why and if or are they dateable. If not, why not? What do you need to do to make yourself more approachable, maybe even, and make yourself more of a helpmeet for a guy? Are you too independent that you can't submit?
What do you mean by too independent? Because I believe the man now in this era wants to know what a woman can bring to the table. It's no longer where men are seeking that woman. Like I said, my grandfather retired my grandmother, and he retired her, and she didn't want for anything. I don't think that type of lifestyle exists. I believe that now men want that woman that is helping to pay the bills and helping to contribute to the household.
There are a lot of men that disagree with you, that say they don't have no problem paying the bills or whatever. But when I come home, are you nagging, or are you asking me, babe, do I need it? Do you need anything? Mm-hmm. Or are you already anticipating my wants and needs? Mm-hmm. All of those things. They said, screw your money, screw your education. They don't even care about none of that. They want to know, can you be my girl, it's a big old thing. So y'all better give Vanessa Lynn's book. Go to her book signing 12/12/21, Detroit, showtickets.com. And the last thing, and so we got to make way for Larry Whitfield's show, Sunday Throwbacks, with his co-host
Lewis Boyd.
You supposed to be on it. You was almost on it. But okay, so Ahmaud Arbery, William Bryan, in the Ahmaud Arbery case, William Bryan, who has been he's been announced guilty, proclaimed guilty, but I don't believe they have been sentenced yet. So yeah. William Bryan complains about the oppressive nature of the Glenn County Jail. Get this. He says he was complaining that he has to be in solitary confinement. The food is bad. He has a small cell with no TV. The TV is down the hall, and he don't have a remote to the TV.
Well, he's in solitary confinement to protect him, because if he's with the general population, I promise you that there will be a funeral.
There's not enough sunlight in his cell. He has no personal shower.
And he won't.
And he has high blood pressure. He's worried about that.
This is not federal prison.
And he doesn't have fair enough contact with family. He's in jail. Like, dude,
you convicted of murder.
You killed somebody. Now you're talking about
right.
I don't like the food in jail.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
They do not have DoorDash in jail.
I'm saying you are not about to do Uber Eats in the Glenn County prison system. What the what? So we got to get out of here for Sunday Throwbacks. Thank you for joining me, Miss April, on Book Nation. Y'all get these books. I'm telling y'all, they are hot conversations. All right, join me back here next week.